In this question, we're looking for the limit as x goes to negative infinity of the square root of x squared minus 4x plus 8 over x minus 7. Well, we can factor out the square root of x squared from the numerator, and what we're left with on the interior is 1 minus 4 over x plus 8 over x squared. Because if we distributed this term into here, x squared times 1 would be x squared times 4 over x would be 4x, and x squared times 8 over x squared would be 8. Similarly, in the denominator, we factor out x, and we're left with 1 minus 7 over x. Well, the square root of x squared, some people will tell you is x, but actually it's the absolute value of x. So we have to ask ourselves in this question, is the absolute value of x going to equal x or negative x? Well, look at where x is going. We're taking the limit as x goes to negative infinity. Well, that means x is a negative number. And since we're taking the absolute value of x, we're going to have to be multiplying x, which we know to be negative, times negative 1. So, although it may look odd, the absolute value of x is negative x because x itself is negative. And a negative times a negative number will equal a positive, which is what, or a non-zero is what the absolute value needs to be. And in this context, it needs to be positive. In the denominator, we have x times 1 minus 7 over x. Well, in the next line, as you see in green, we factor negative 1 out of negative x, and we're left with negative 1 times x. Negative x becomes negative 1 times x. And in the denominator, we have a factor of x, and so we're able to cross those out, and we have the limit as x goes to negative infinity of negative 1 times that radical over 1 minus 7 over x. In the second last line, we can see that we're treating each of those limits individually. So the limit as x goes to negative infinity of 4 over x, this will become infinitely close to 0. This quantity will become infinitely close to 0, and this quantity will become infinitely close to 0. So what we have is negative the square root of 1 plus 0 over 1 plus 0. Simplified, that equals negative 1.